400 militants and sympathizers of the Cameroon Renaissance movement have been arrested following the September 22 Anti-Biya protest in Douala and Yaoundé. Amongst them are Olivier Bibo-Nissak, the spokesperson of Professor Maurice Kamto, as well as Professor Alain Foguet, the national treasurer of Kamto's party. They could be charged with cases of violence, insurrection, as well as hostility against the fatherland. Also, we tell you how the Chamber of Commerce, Mines, Industries and Crafts now has the new president, Christophe Eken, was installed today by the Minister of Mines, Industries and Crafts in Douala. It should be noted that Chief Fon Ekoko Mukete the Fourth was also elected as the Vice President of the Chamber. Those are top stories. Good evening and thanks for joining us. You're watching the Primetime Newscast on STV. Lawyers defending the Cameroon Renaissance movement say that over 400 people have been arrested following the September 22 Anti-Biya protest in the littoral center and west regions of the country. Amongst them are Olivier Bibo-Nissak, the spokesperson of the CRM leader, Professor Maurice Kamto, as well as Professor Alain Foguet, the national treasurer of the party. They have been charged with crimes of violence, hostility, as well as insurrection. Josephine Binzi tells us more.
The Cameroon Renaissance Movement party is yet to cool off from the arrest of militant Olivier Bibo-Nissak, arrested in the morning of September 22 for protests geared at ousting the head of state, President Paul Biya, from power. The same accusation of hostility and insurrection is being charged against spokesman of the CRM chairman, Paul Orr, as he has been jailed in Yaoundé in the morning of the protests. Professor Alain Foguet stands in the same line of charges as the Cameroon Renaissance Movement national treasurer, is accused of conspiracy and terrorism and kept in police custody as he has been prohibited from being visited while in custody, says Maître Emmanuel Sim, one of the lawyers defending the cause and ideologies of the party. The arrest accounts have been heavy as over 300 persons have been arrested in all central, littoral and west regions in connection with the protests. This is not the first time in the party's history, as party chairman Maurice Kamto and other militants have been held in detention contesting the results of the presidential elections, and first vice president Mamadou Mokhtar also arrested alongside others protesting the release of jailed CRM chairman. While waiting the legal procedures to guarantee the freedom of these militants, the arrest still remains a concern to CRM militants and sympathizers.
In a related development, Talmai Javis as well as Tebon Christian, who work for My Media Prime Television here in the economic capital Douala, have been released following their arrest while covering the September 22 Anti-Biya protest of the Cameroon Renaissance movement. They were released yesterday after detention at the Mbopi Gendarmerie Brigade and later the Brigade Maritime in Douala. They were in good shape. Following their release and were not physically tortured. The Cameroon Journalist Trade Union has saluted their release and calls on authorities to give journalists a chance to exercise their duties without fear, intimidation, as well as harassment. Christophe Eken has once more been installed as the president of Cameroon's Chamber of Commerce, Mines, Industries, as well as Crafts. He has been told to avail himself of the African Continental Free Trade Area to stimulate investments. It should be noted that his installation took place in a ceremony that was chaired by the Minister in charge of Mines, Industries and Technological Development, and His Royal Highness Fon Mukete the Fourth Ekoko was elected first Vice President of the Chamber. Details in this report.
Endorsed for the fourth time in office as president of the Chamber of Commerce, Christophe Eken says helping and supervising companies near bankruptcy in Cameroon is his target this fourth time.
First of all, let me thank the President of the Republic for his confidence in me again. But you know, today we are living a very difficult economic situation due to the COVID also. I will say that more than 80% of the business company are affected. Most of them are in the, what I can say is a bankruptcy situation, you know. It's very difficult. What we are going to do is to help and supervise many companies in this country. So I say we need grants, we need, we can say subsidies also to do more than what we are doing, what we have done today.
Present at the installation was the Minister of Mines and Industrial Development, who highlighted the importance of the chambers at this time in the country.
Today, we'll deal challenges which will get the professionals of the sector of trade to grow, to make their business grow. As I said, is an instance where professionals come to seek solutions for the problem of exploitation of their business.
Third Vice President of the Chambers spoke of some challenges and measure recommendations.
Apart from getting its own resources, independent resources to finance the activities of the Chamber, which is the #1 problem, once that is sorted out, then the Chamber will be in a position, you know, to carry out its mandate in a more productive manner, which is to represent the enterprise sector, being the go-between between the public sector and the private sector, searching for international investors, making sure there's, you know, industries investing here. We have a terrible issue of unemployment.
The governor of the littoral region, alongside other business magnates of the nation, were in attendance of this installation at the Chamber of Commerce today, September 24, 2020, to set the pace for a brighter business world in the public and private sector in Cameroon.
Cameroon Supreme Court has ruled that there will be a rerun of elections of municipal executives at the Makenene Council in the West region, as well as the city mayor of Kumba in the southwest region of the country. This follows irregularity witnessed by some councillors who filed in complaints at the Supreme Court of Cameroon, and the Supreme Court found the complaints are valid. For the case of Makenene in the west region of the country, it was discovered that the mayor was elected without the quorum attained. And Greg Mewanu, a municipal councillor in Kumba, filed a complaint against the city mayor of Kumba, Victor Kelengo, for having the signature of the senior divisional officer for Meme on the voting declarations, and the Supreme Court found the complaint valid. The elections will hold in a month's time, as ordered by the Supreme Court. It should be noted that in the meantime, the accused still remain in their positions as a mayor of Makenene and Kumba City Mayor, respectively. Elections, it should be noted that 150 complaints have been filed in by some grieving councillors, amongst them 30 from the Social Democratic Front, demanding that the elections be cancelled in the northwest and southwest regions due to insecurity. Ebolova in the south region of the country will soon host a branch of the Bank of Central African States, BIAC. The Minister of Finance, Louis Paul Mutazi, was in the south regional capital to evaluate the level of preparedness ahead of the laying of the foundation stone slated for Tuesday, September 29, 2020. That event will be chaired by the Prime Minister, Head of Government, as we hear from Ladonette Oni.
Evaluating the level of preparedness ahead of laying the first stone ceremony for the construction of a BIAC regional branch in Ebolova South region of Cameroon is the drive force behind the visit of the Minister of Finance, Louis Paul Mutazi, on Wednesday, 24th September. The minister visits the site, accompanied by BIAC representatives and some project managers.
Here with the people of BIAC, all the stakeholders, that means the service of the governor, to see the readiness for the ceremony that will be held next week. We have been discussing with all the stakeholders, and what I can tell you is that I think all will be ready. We are going to report to the Prime Minister and let him know what we have found on the field, and we think that all will be ready for the ceremony of next week.
However, it should be noted that the compensation case has not been finalized, as some families, like that of the late Esiane Aka, are demanding their dues as a result of the expropriation of public utility to which they are victims.
Now, let's talk education. The 2020-2021 school year, which kicks off on the 5th of October 2020, has been launched with a special focus on kicking out COVID-19 from schools in Cameroon. Secondary Education Minister Professor Nalova Lyonga has instructed heads of public and private schools in Cameroon not to accommodate more than 50 students per class, in line with the physical distancing measures. Crystal Asek-Swele, our reporter, went out to some schools in the economic capital Douala and sought to know how schools are preparing to kick out the pandemic this year.
To ensure the effective implementation of this orientation given yesterday in Yaoundé by the Minister of Secondary Education, Pauline Nalova Lyonga, while presiding over the official launching ceremony of the 2020-2021 academic year, she charged schools without enough space of containing 50 students per classroom to opt for a two-shift system of classes for this upcoming school year. At the government high school TSF Mongo Joseph in Douala, the school management had already envisaged dispersing classes in shifts way ahead before the minister's order yesterday.
On est prêt, en tout cas on essaie de s'apprêter, puisqu'on ne sait même pas comment ça va fonctionner. Pour cette année, on est encore dans l'incertitude, mais on est paré à toutes les éventualités, soit l'école ordinaire, soit la mi-temps. Et à cet effet, on a prévu déjà les emplois du temps pour chaque enseignant, emploi du temps s'il y a mi-temps, emploi du temps si c'est classe ordinaire. Et pour le reste, tel que vous voyez, je suis de l'équipe de permanence ces jours-ci. Et vous avez vu au lycée, on est en train de s'activer.
In Alfred Seka High School, a private mission school in Douala, the vice principal of the Anglophone section, Scott Enyi, says changes always come with obligations, although at their school, adopting to the two-shift system will be very challenging for them as their limited resources will not allow them adhere to the system.
Things have changed, and when things change, we're obliged to change. And so our most important difficulty is the non-availability of classrooms. The students are there, the old structures are there, and so in order to solve that kind of problem, we intend to, we have not yet fully decided, but we intend to adopt one system, one shift, which starts from 7:30 to 4 o'clock. 7:30 to 4 o'clock. Why? Because we have to maintain the same teachers. We have to split. A teacher who teaches in the morning will not be able to repeat the same lesson appropriately in the afternoon in a different shift. And so it will be.
However, schools with less than 50 students per classroom are exempted from this order. Nonetheless, schools that will adopt the two-shift system of classes will have to include 2 extra hours of online classes to complete the required hours of classes disbursed daily.
The 2020 session of the probatoire examination has been released despite the separatist conflict rocking the northwest and southwest regions of the country. The 2 Anglophone regions came out top on the chart with the best performance. Details with Onila Donet.
The first and last position in regards to the percentage pass in the probatoire exams 2020 is occupied by 2 crisis-hit regions, the Southwest and the Far North region. The Southwest region, an area predominant by English language speakers, and has been battling with a socio-political crisis since 2016, tops with a percentage of 54.42%. The Far North region, struggling with the Boko Haram crisis since 2014, occupies the last position with 19.94%. The second, third and fourth position is being occupied by the Northwest region with 46.89%, the Central region with 36.22%, and the Littoral region with 35.16% respectively. 31.22% is the total percentage of students passed in the preparatory official exams taken by students of Premier in the French subsystem of education. This percentage has experienced a decrease of about 12.9% as opposed to last year 43.82%.
From Carrefour Ajib to the Mbopi market has once more been reopened for circulation following rehabilitation works which lasted more than 3 weeks. Road users have, however, vented their frustration following the rehabilitation of the road. Crystal Asexuele tells us more.
Barely less than a week since the Ajib crossroads on Mbopi reopened to traffic, it's already a center for criticism from road users plying this stretch of the road.
Regardez, filmez bien ici. Filmez bien. Regardez.
Look at the pavement. The tar has been done. This is not a good job. No parking space reserved for clients, making it difficult for them to come to the market. In a press release signed on September 9, 2020, the Douala City Mayor announced the rehabilitation works for this stretch of road, which was to last for 30 days. Although the period of time reserved for the realization of this project has not yet been completed, the problems of yesterday are resurfacing, particularly the traffic jams that are notorious at the Mbopi market.
Les Chinois ont bien fait leurs travaux. Maintenant pour les embouteillages, ce qui nous tue, c'est juste.
The road is well done, only there are no parkings reserved for customers who come to the market. They are forced to park by the roadside, which causes traffic.
De bien garer, c'est que ça pourrait bien nous libérer cet accès-ci.
On est dans la jungle, chacun se débrouille.
There is traffic here, nothing is organized here, no leader to put things right here. If there was a leader in this market, maybe order will reign then. All hope seems to be falling apart as having a fluid traffic on this axis, noted for its huge traffic, may not be achieved here despite the road's rehabilitation.
The country, Britain has become the latest European country to impose COVID-19 restrictions on social distancing following a sharp rise in coronavirus transmission rates. The number of new cases is roughly doubling every week, and it is feared that it could reach 50,000 if the situation persists. More with the VOA.
Under the new rules, pubs and restaurants will be forced to close by 10 p.m. People are once again being encouraged to work from home. In a televised address Tuesday, Prime Minister Boris Johnson put the blame partly on the public.
While the vast majority have complied with the rules, there have been too many breaches, too many opportunities for our invisible enemy to slip through undetected. The virus has started to spread again in an exponential way.
In August, the government tried to get people back out and spending, paying half of diners' food bills and encouraging workers back to the office. Many people are confused about the changing message.
It's all a bit back and forth, up and down, no one knows which way to go.
People have forgotten because there hasn't been one clear, specific message.
Some medical experts have voiced concern that the new restrictions don't go far enough.
Things have already really started to escape our grasp, especially with testing breakdowns. Given all of that, I do have concerns about whether the measures that were announced yesterday will actually be enough to stem the tide.
Others say the government is right to hold back on a full lockdown.
This is a long winter. We cannot afford to go now with harsh measures. The impact on the economy here is going to be significant because what happens is, soon as you pause, then you open up again, it tends to come back.
In recent weeks, some people with coronavirus symptoms have struggled to get tests and results have been delayed. The government says the problems will be resolved within weeks.
If you look at the countries that have been most successful, including countries that never had to resort to full lockdowns, one of the big differences is they invested early in testing and tracing capabilities. We've never, I think, met the mark here in the UK on that.
Business groups, especially pubs and restaurants, have voiced alarm over the tightening of restrictions.
We've still got 1 in 5 premises closed, 900,000 people still supported by full furlough, which is coming to an end in a matter of weeks, and a 10 p.m. curfew means that businesses have to be empty, closed and locked up by 10 p.m. That means last orders at 9, so it halves restaurant revenues, it decimates pub sector trade.
The government's furlough scheme has supported around 10 million jobs. That's due to end next month, and Prime Minister Johnson is under pressure to extend it amid warnings of soaring unemployment. Henry Ridgewell for VOA News, London.
And that caps this edition of the Primetime Newscast on STV. Thank you very much for watching. More news comes up at 8 p.m. in the French language. From the entire team in Douala, have a good night. Bye-bye.